God, I love this music.
I know.
Seriously, I've had a bad day, and like I hear that song, and I'm kind of like, "Fuck, that's it. Let's do this."
Jazzed up again.
I know. It's like it just like woke me up. I was all like, "Oh man." So hello, everyone. Thanks for joining us for another episode of Let's Scream. I'm Maude, Michaud. Why did I hesitate
Chappell.
for my complete?
You just don't know your name today. It's fine.
It's like, what's is my name? Yeah, so well, welcome. This week we are not having a guest, so you are stuck with us. But I promise that we're gonna make it really fun, and we're gonna have a fun
Yes, it will be interesting and fun. We'll have some good conversations.
Yeah. So how was your week, or whatever, however long it's been since the last time we've done this? I think this is our first real recording of the year, because the one that premiered in January was
we recorded in December.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, it's been an interesting month.
Yeah.
So much shenanigans has happened, and everyone probably already knows this, but Evil Dead, the musical that I was supposed to be in, didn't happen, and it was supposed to end this like last weekend, and it's a very sad bummer. But things are looking up. We're in February now. Yes. It's a new month. We did our 30-day trial of January, and we're continuing with the year.
Yes, exactly. And so far, I mean, who the fuck knows what's happening with Omicron, but hopefully it's gonna get better.
Yeah, hopefully it backs off and everyone goes out and gets vaccinated.
Exactly. Please do it. Go get your booster shot.
Do it. Go get vaccinated, get boosted, do all of the things.
Yeah, we want to be able to do this live in the same room together. That would be fucking awesome.
Yes. We want to go back to some normalcy. Although I will say, theaters just opened up again this week in Toronto. I was so excited.
They're opening up in Montreal next week, so I can finally go see Scream.
Oh my God, I kept thinking that too. I'm like, yes, the first movie I'm going to go see is Scream. And I'm like, oh, I have to wait for my partner to go and see it. So I saw The Matrix instead.
Oh, how was it?
It was good. I mean, I truthfully don't, like, I understand them visually. Like, I get what story they're telling. But every time they talk, I'm like, I don't know what you're saying. Yeah. This is a bunch of computer jargon. And I'm like, okay, cool. He's the one. And that's Trinity. And we're going to fight. And they're better together.
Yeah.
I'm basically just there for like fight sequences, all the costumes, because they are always spot on. And the new one has so much good like eyewear that I'm like already online looking for like, where can I find like Morpheus's glasses?
That's amazing. Although I gotta say, it's really funny how we just said like, I'm excited for Scream. You went to see The Matrix. I'm like, are we back into the 90s? And I almost just said another fuck, because I think I'm at my fourth or fifth like F-bomb in 4 minutes.
It's gonna be a very swear-filled episode. But yeah, truly, we are like back in the 90s, like Matrix is in theaters, Scream is in theaters. I'm pretty sure a lot of the movies I'm gonna bring up tonight are from the 90s. I have a stack of them right here.
Good. Wonderful. Well, speaking of which, have you watched anything good recently aside from The Matrix?
Aside from The Matrix, which was like good? ? Yes. So because of, I'm gonna butcher his name, Gaspard Ulliel, because he died. We rewatched.
Yeah. Okay. Him. Okay.
Yeah, we rewatched Hannibal Rising.
Oh, cool.
And like, that movie is truly just so good.
Okay, confession, I totally forgot this movie existed until he died, and somebody pointed out, oh, it was Hannibal and Hannibal Rising. I'm all like, wait, what is that? And I was like, oh yeah, I've seen this. Oh, this movie exists, because in my head there's like Red Dragon, there's like is that Manhunter? Yeah, Manhunter. Like, there's Silence of the Lambs, then there's Hannibal, the film with Gary Oldman, then there's like Red Dragon. And then there's Hannibal, the series. And then that's it. Like, I kind of completely blanked out and like went completely over to Hannibal Rising because I don't know. I don't know why.
Honestly, it's true. Like, I saw it once when it came out in theaters and then never once revisited it or anything. It kind of just like came and went, and I probably wouldn't have even bothered to rewatch it had he sadly not passed away in a skiing accident.
Hmm.
But he's so good in it, and he's so cute. And I'm very excited to see him in that Marvel movie he's doing, that Moon Knight, Moon something,
Is that
Moon
the
Fist.
vampire one?
No, that's Morbius.
Oh.
With Jared Leto.
Oh yeah.
And I'm
see the trailer
so
for that. I really have no idea how I feel about this. Yeah.
I don't even care. I'm like here for it. I like whatever acting Jared Leto does. He has his own style. It's always either super out there or super pulled back. Like, he has no middle ground as an actor.
Mm-hmm.
But like, I'm excited. It's gonna be so good whenever it comes out. I don't even know when the release date of that is. Like, the world is a blur at this point. Like, I saw a trailer for Death in the Nile, and I was like, didn't this movie come out like 2 years ago? But apparently it didn't. But the original trailer did. So it's just been sitting there for 2 years, but no one watched. And I don't even know. The world is still crazy, and I don't even know. Time means nothing anymore.
No, exactly.
What have you watched this last, oh my God, like month?
I guess to keep in with a 90s theme, I watched Archive 81.
Same.
It's so good.
It's so good.
I really, really loved it. I went in completely blind, not knowing anything. And it's funny because it's one of those things where it's like, oh, it was not even on my list of stuff to watch. I was just like, I need something to watch while I like do my stationary bike, and I'm like, I need a 40-minute episode so I can bike for 40 minutes and then that's it.
You time it for the episode length.
Yeah, it's perfect. It's like workout length. I can't get out of my apartment. I can't go to the gym. Okay, I'm just gonna like binge series and workout. Win-win. So I figured like, oh, I'm gonna start watching it. And then first thing I knew, I was all like, oh no, this is good. This is more than like watch while biking good. So yeah,
like zero promotion going into
I
it.
know.
The only reason I knew about it is because like 2 people messaged me and they were like, hey, have you checked out this show? It's really good. It's up your alley. And I was like, no. And like James Wan is like a producer on it. Like, how did I miss this? Like,
I know it's
well,
I mean, yeah,
it's so good. Netflix knocked it out of the park again.
I know. I mean, I found out about it. You know what? Thanks to those like silly like screensaver that Netflix gives you, it's all like
when you just kind of let your
up soon. And yeah, like half of it is just like rehashing films I watched like 2 years ago. I'm like, I've already seen this bitch. Show me something else. Like, and then like, it just goes like, oh, coming up soon. And half of the time also it's stuff I just don't give a crap about. And then that one I'm all like, okay, well, I'll give it a chance. Yeah. Yeah.
But yeah, it was surprisingly good.
Yeah.
And
I had no idea.
Like, truly, if I didn't start watching it at like 7:00 at night, I probably would have binged it in one sitting. But I was like, no, I can't fall asleep watching this because I don't want to miss anything.
No, exactly. That's it. And it's just like, I don't know. I really liked how, to me, it was like an interesting new take on the found footage film. Like, because there was a time where it's like somebody would say like found footage, I'd be like, roll my eyes, because I'm a very judgmental horror watcher. Like,
I'm
so
pretty much
like
the same.
Zombies, roll my eyes. Found footage, roll my eyes. Torture porn, roll my eyes. Something like,
yeah, especially found footage, because you're like, so whatever's happening that's probably going to kill you, you're still like, gotta keep filming because this is the most important thing. Gotta get that camcorder. Like,
exactly.
Yeah.
But I really liked how this one just played around with technology, and mostly also like a lot of like analog technology as well, which I'm also just not so secretly a huge geek about, So I just like really, really loved it because it's like, and I don't know, I love cult stories. Like,
I love a good cult story.
Yeah, and this
like,
one,
every time there's a documentary about a cult, I'm like, yeah, how did you do it? How did you manipulate all these people? How did you escape? Like,
yeah. Well, side note, this is not at all horror related, but that's something else that I watch over the holidays.
It's a lot of true crime.
But if you like cult stuff, there is a great docu-series on Amazon Prime about LuLaRoe. Speaking of cults,
I binged that in like a day. It is
me too. So there you go.
So good, especially because I don't know how many people who sold LuLaRoe.
No, I don't know anybody in Canada.
Oh, I knew a handful of people. And then when I was living out west in BC, like
Mm-hmm.
so many people. And it was just
Oh,
like, I
really?
don't want to buy your shitty leggings.
I think it didn't make it to Montreal. It feels like, it's just like it's
You
one
guys
of
are just,
those.
you're just smarter than the rest of the country.
I don't know, or the language barrier. They're like,
Yeah.
there's no documentation in French. Fuck them.
But it's just like, I love watching anything about MLMs because I'm always just like, how do you suck people in? There was that TV show that Kirsten Dunst did on Crave or Showtime where
Yeah.
she got involved in an MLM. I was like,
Yeah.
do more of that.
Yeah.
I just also personally know way too many people who think MLMs are like cool and fun and they're gonna be their own bosses. And I'm like, oh baby.
I know. You don't have a business. You're a corporate
You're
chief.
not your own boss. You
Yeah.
can't set your own prices. You can't choose your own merchandise. I am so sorry to tell you this.
Exactly. Well, that would be cool to have a horror movie about MLMs at some point. Think of it. Throwing it out there.
Throwing those ideas out there. But
Movie
we
Pete,
have it. This is ours.
Yeah, give us the MLM horror film.
Give us those.
That would be awesome.
It.
You got your whole demographic all there, ready for it. So.
On a similar note to that, I watched a docuseries on Amazon Prime as well about the Von Dutch company, like those Von Dutch trucker hats that all the D-bags wore back in the early 2000s.
Mm-hmm.
And you'd think a company that made so many people douchey, like it's full on run by douchebags, and it's hilarious. There's like murder involved, and there's like people hiring hits. There's people. One dude is just full on just smoking crack during the documentary, being like, "Hold on,
that's amazing.
All right, let me tell you about this one guy in the business," and it's like, and then he stands up and pees into a water bottle on camera, and you're like, "Oh, you have no shame left." This company and the douchebags who made Von Dutch also made Ed Hardy.
Nice.
Like it's just like, of course, douchebags make douchebags. Of course, this is what happens. Of course, there was murder and meth involved. Like,
yeah, that's awesome.
But also, if you want to just relive every douchebag wearing that, it's like a beautiful montage of all of the like late 90s, early 2000s people.
Well, see, that in itself is a horror movie, as far as I'm concerned. And this is not the type of horror I enjoy. So
it's not. It's too real. I don't like when horror is too close to home. I'm pretty sure I owned a Von Dutch hat at some point too, thinking I was going to be like hip and cool like Paris Hilton, and then being like, oh, please get rid of that. Like you smartened up. Throw that in the trash.
It's like
don't even donate it. Other people aren't allowed to have it.
Yeah, exactly.
I'm trying to say,
yeah.
No, you go.
No, I said I was like trying hardcore to like bring it back to our topic for this week, and I keep trying, and I'm all like, nope, just gotta take that bus and like just turn the wheel.
Yeah, I was also supposed to be like, well, on a different note, I did rewatch all of the Scream films.
Amazing. Thank you so much, for that wonderful segue into
this beautiful segue.
Yeah, but for a while we were on a good start. It's like we were talking about the 90s. I'm all like, okay, great. Let's stay in the 90s.
And then we descended. We started talking about true crime, and then
I
mean, it all still is in the 90s. Von Dutch was very much late 90s, early 2000s.
There you go. Perfect.
Yeah. And it's horror in a way.
It is. It's horrific.
It's horrible, so it works.
Yeah.
But yeah, I had to
about our poor viewership that might not. They're like, we're here for the horror. Where is it?
They're here for us, but they'll stay for the horror. But yeah, because the new Scream movie came out and we couldn't see it because all of our theaters were shut down, and it's not on. Like, I couldn't just pay $30 to watch it at home, which I would have done in a heartbeat.
Yep.
So we decided, you know what? Fuck it. It's time to rewatch all of the first 4 movies in preparation for it.
Nice.
And like 4 holds up.
Yeah.
I actually really like. The only thing I have like issues with is Hayden Panettiere's pixie cut, like that weird short hair thing she has, and I'm like, no, I'm sorry, a popular hot girl like you would not have that short of hair during that time period. Maybe now I could see it happening in like a 2022 era, but in like, when did this come out? Like 2010, 2009, 2008, something like that.
Yeah, sometimes
like the hot chick at high school would have better hair.
Yeah.
But like, I'm here for it. I'm also like waiting for them to make the Stab movie,
Yes.
but it has to
Where is
star
it?
all the people they casted throughout those 4 films.
Yeah, but they're probably like all like way too old for
Oh,
those
they're
roles.
definitely too old now. Like, you definitely can't use Tori Spelling. You definitely can't use Luke Wilson pretending to be Skeet Ulrich, which is my
Oh
favorite
my
fucking thing in the whole world. In Scream 2, when you see that and you're like,
I
no.
forgot that. Okay, see, I haven't rewatched it. Now having known that we were going to talk so heavily about Scream in the intro, and I'm the one who brought it on. I should have like rewatched him, but yeah, it's such like I don't know. To me, I can't wait to see the new one because to me that's like one of those franchises that it has a very special place in my heart. Like it came out right around the time where I was really into horror, and I remember seeing that film and that being the film where it's like, oh, it made me really want to be a horror nerd. I was like watching. It's like I want to be one of those kids.
You want to
in
be
that film.
Randy and just be like, these are all the rules to horror movies.
Exactly. I literally, this was all in the early days of the internet. And like I went on this website and I downloaded the list of absolutely all of the movies that are referenced in the film. And then I hunted every single one of them in the video store to watch them all of them. And I think
Oh,
the
I
only
love
one
it.
to this day that I still haven't seen is The Town That Dreaded Sundown. Because for some reason, not a single video store had it, but it's mentioned at some point.
I've seen The Town That Dreaded Sundown, and I've also seen the new remake that happened like 5-7 years ago, something like that. The only thing I remember is someone getting stabbed with the trombone, which I was like, that's stupid, and I'm going to remember it forever. So it worked.
That's amazing. Cool. Well, to segue into our topic for this week, we are going to be talking about one of those most iconic role that women portray in horror. One of the most iconic part of horror film and culture, the final girl.
Yes.
The final girl, which it's going to be a very interesting discussion because it's funny because initially I was all like, oh, let's talk about final girls. And then when I started like, putting my thoughts down on paper and like just diving back into all the stuff I have, because again, nerd alert, I did my master's on horror films. So I have a shit ton of academic book and I've just read way too many, overly academically indulgent text about horror films, so I was like sometimes like, yeah, please like just pull me back if ever you see me veer off way too far into like academia land. I'm gonna try to like stay like firmly planted on the ground while discussing this, but sometimes the temptation to veer off into grand theories is pretty big.
Honestly, I agree. And also like not that I have a degree in that, but I love reading good academic books on horror because I like hearing an intellectual mind talk about horror.
Yeah.
And I feel like if we're going to start this conversation off, we should probably start with where the term final girl even came from.
Yes. Which we both came
yes.
We both have the same book, just different editions.
She has the better cover. And I'm so
I got the OG old ass first I don't even know, is it first edition? I don't even know if it's the first edition.
The first edition according to this one part that tells you the other like print pages there are of it. See, that's the first one.
Oh wow.
Yeah, I have like a third printing of it because I bought mine I don't know, like 6 years ago. And then when I was living outside for 4 months, it lived with me. And I really brought no books except for this book and Kayla Janice's House of Psychotic Women book. And that's what kept me company when I was living outside for 4 months. At a rafting company, I wasn't homeless. Not that there's anything wrong with that, but like I should just preface that I was living outside, but in a situation that like it was like camping for 4 months.
That's good. Yeah. Well, you had good company. Yeah. Yes. Well, okay. So for those who are not familiar, Carol J. Clover, she was she is. Sorry, I don't know why I said she was.
Yeah, she's still very much alive.
Yeah, she's very much alive. I was like, sorry, I did not want to in for anything.
Right.
I'll blame it on the French. Okay, so Yeah, so I think she's the first, right? The first academic
92.
author who coined
First final girl.
the term final girl. God, what is language tonight? What is language?
Life. Is a final girl.
Exactly. And okay,
I
so
care.
I guess to dive into this. So for those, okay, the reason I'm gonna get all nerdy and shit and like read actual passage is because I want us to take a moment to think about what exactly people mean, like, or at least what exactly is the idea of the construct of the final girl versus what we assume it is. So first of all, well, it is part of the stalker, not the stalker, the slasher subgenre. Wow, I really have trouble with words tonight.
And a reminder, this is from 1992, so it's
Yeah, this
been
is from
30 years.
Yeah.
Oh my god, it's been 30 years. I love it. I love that
Yeah.
we're talking about this on the anniversary. I didn't realize it. Okay.
Spoiler alert, it does not age super well.
No. We're gonna dive into that for sure.
Yes. So, okay, very easily, right off the bat, to begin our dive into the topic. So, the definition of the slasher film, so that we're all on the same page. Not that I have any doubt that you might not think the same way, but yeah, so that we're on the same page. It is the immensely generative story of a psycho killer who slashes to death a string of mostly female victims one by one until he is subdued or killed, usually by the one girl who has survived. Our final girl. I don't know, Allie, did you have any passage that you pulled up? Because I do have two more.
No, read them all. Mine are like people discussing Clover's
Cool.
work because I am the worst. I didn't cite any of my shit, nor did I figure out who the author of any of this was.
Good.
But the one thing I was gonna say was this is a pulled quote. But according to Clover, the final girl in many movies shares common characteristics. She's typically sexually unavailable or virginal and avoids vices of victims like illegal drug use. And then someone pointed this out. I don't agree with it. They said that she sometimes has a unisex name such as Avery, Chris, or Sydney. And I'm like,
Lori, that doesn't fit.
No, Lori doesn't work. Nancy doesn't work.
No. Yeah.
And then they also said they occasionally, so it's not a definitive thing, that they usually have some sort of shared history with the killer.
Huh. That's really interesting because I mean, the way that you said, like, to riff on that idea of the name, I could not find the actual direct quote from Clover's book, but she does talk at length about how the final girl is supposed to be a safe, character that men can identify with, and so that they can like superimpose their experience of watching the film and have a heroine that is feminine yet not too feminine, that they can identify with. So like, and who's gonna kick ass. But yeah, I've lost my page. I had pulled it up exactly. I was like, I can't.
I keep looking at my book
anymore.
like,
oh no, I see it here. I got it. Okay, so she is feminine enough to act out in a gratifying way, a way unapproved for adult males, the terror of the masochistic pleasure of the underlying fantasy, but not so feminine as to disturb the structure of male competence and sexuality. So this is what we're working with. This is what the final girl is, according to Clover. And arguably as well, it kind of follows the similar tropes that are very laid out as a Cliff's Note, in Scream, for those, for those who are not familiar. So what is she like? Again, main character, usually she's a virgin or like a virtuous woman who does not do anything bad. And she is the victim, but then she fights back, and that's where like I'm gonna take the conversation in another direction later on when we're gonna talk about what I like to call the Final Girl 2.0, which I think is so much more interesting than the classic Final Girl.
Same.
But yeah, if you think about this, the classic Final Girl, she fights back, but usually she fights back, and like the best image I have for this is Laurie in Halloween when she's in the like hiding in the closet, and she's there like. Like with the knife, and she's like kind of like, and then there's the knife coming through, and like, she's like fighting back, but still terrified, like not quite. She doesn't own up or fighting back, the same way as like
Yeah.
they're just gonna like throw stuff and then they're gonna fight, like
Yeah,
fight
she
out.
doesn't fight the way she does in the films that after that one. Like
Exactly.
the first one, she was very much a terrified small girl victim.
Exactly. Which is what I guess the archetypal idea of the final girl is. And I get it, because I mean, in a way, fine, up until about Scream, this was kind of like the standard in a way. But I feel like, and that's just like me, like riffing on a tangent with a little bit of a pet peeve. It feels like in recent years, and that's to me also just talking to a lot of people who write and like horror. A lot of people, they like it. It feels like the term "final girl" has become synonymous with just like a female character of horror. And it's not so much. So to me, the final girl, it implies that the film starts out with a bunch of characters and you don't know, like, that's the whole thing. The whole idea, at least from what I understand of it, is that when like, and then also looking at those older films, I mean, if you watch it for the first time, if you watch Nightmare on Elm Street for the first time, you don't know who's going to survive at the end. Like at some point it starts to become obvious, but like, it usually starts with a cast of character, and then one of those are going to be like, is going to rise up to become like, the final girl, and who's going to like ends up defeating everybody at the end. But you don't really kind of know it off the bat. Yes, of course, at some point the film will end up centering on that character and follow her. But it, to me, it feels like the term final girl, like, itself implies that there needs to be other girls, so.
Yeah, that they're the only girl left.
Exactly.
Which then when you come to like Scream,
mm-hmm.
like Sydney the final girl because she has a relationship with the constant killers, or is Gail the final girl because she fought her ass off and saved people, and also Dewey's still alive?
That's true.
Like, who, like, is Sydney the final girl in that?
That's a good question. I mean, it depends. If you abide by the virginal rule, then I guess Sydney is. But again,
in the first one, for the most part, but he.
Do they have to? I can't remember. I haven't seen it. Like, I haven't rewatched it recently.
And he like made a whole, like, cause Skeet's like a pervy, douchey teenage boy in that, and he like makes a comment about it. But yeah, like she, and going forward, obviously, is no longer a virgin. And we all know Gail ain't no,
No, of course. Yeah. But
yeah. Then if that's the case, why do they let Gail live?
Yeah.
Why do they continuously let her live?
That is true.
And unless you know why they keep letting Dewey live. He's not very fast. He's got that limp after like the second movie, and
that's true. Yeah, he's not the brightest bulb in the pack either.
He's one of those guys who he tries, and we love him for it.
Yeah.
But why did he get to live?
Is he the final girl? Who knows?
You know what? Yeah, Dewey's the final girl.
Yeah, because I mean,
I haven't seen the fifth one yet. They could all die in this new one, for all I know. But
yeah, probably
that would be a.
Yeah, I mean, there has been an instance of film, like instances of films with like final boy. Like I know, like the See No Evil 2 by the Soska sisters. It was a final boy. Which I don't want to spoil it too much, but like
no, I've seen it. Also, I feel like we can spoil movies if they're like 5 years old.
Yeah, I know. It feels like
you have had the time to watch it.
Yeah, at this point, if you haven't seen it yet,
like I'm not gonna spoil the new Matrix one because that just came out. But like, if you haven't seen it, here are some spoilers.
Exactly.
I remember Captain Isabel being super adorable, and Danielle Harris, who like. Forever.
Yes. Another iconic final girl from the Halloween series.
True. And by all definition of the word, she is a final girl because she is a small child.
Exactly.
Unlike half the people who survive who are above the age of 18, and they should really call it the final woman.
Exactly. But I mean, again, so I guess going back to that definition, like, it's just like, to me, it feels like it is very, and I'm going to go a bit on a feminist tangent, but it just seems
do it
diminishing, like the use, the use of the term girl right off the bat. It's really infantilizing to begin with. And the whole
Yes.
idea is like that idea, the construct that, she has to like fight, and then like, but not fight too hard. Like, she still needs to remain feminine. It just seems to me like, and that's, I mean, I guess going back on a lot of the work that I've done, like in my thesis, is like it just comes back to the idea of like horror as like reinforcing those ideas, like those very patriarchal ideas of like what is the heteronormative ideals of like, down to like watching horror as being the woman is supposed to be terrified and to seek reassurance of like her male date, watching horror. So
Yeah, a woman's
and like,
story is always to further a man's story.
exactly. And like the final girl being a challenger to this, but like she's like a safe challenger because
A safe challenger.
yeah, she's a safe
She
challenger
barely
because
makes it
she's
though.
not empowered, she's not sexual, she doesn't own it. Even her way of fighting back is weak, or like, she fights like a girl. And like, I'm saying this in the construct of like what people meant in the 80s, like the very very like degrading like way of like, the way that the people use this expression in the 80s and the 90s. Yeah, sorry, end of my
Fully
feminist
agree.
rant.
I am all about going on that tangent. I found an interesting quote. Again, I really should have been a better academic and cited my work.
It's
Uh,
okay.
so I just have like a bunch of like copy and pasted quotes on the side of my
Go
screen
for it.
here that I keep like pulling from. And the one that I found where I'm just like, ooh, is someone, I'm sure if you copy this word for word into Google, you'll see who wrote it. But Clover argues that for a film to be successful, it is necessary for the surviving character to be female because she must experience abject terror. And many viewers would reject a film that showed abject terror on the part of a male. The terror has a purpose in that the female, if she survives, is purged of her undesirable characteristics such as relentless pursuit of personal pleasures. Which, like, cool.
Yeah.
So we get trauma, and then we have to revert inwards and be like, cool, well, I can't have sex anymore, can't do drugs anymore.
Yeah, exactly.
Not that we don't promote drug use.
No.
Except for weed, because that's legal.
Yeah, exactly. It's legal in Canada, guys.
Yes, suck it, yes. Americans. Well, most of you. I know some places fine.
Mm-hmm.
I meant the harder drugs. Yeah. But in the sake of movies, no one's doing like super hard drugs most of the time. Nice. If it's a teen slasher, they're smoking weed and drinking.
Yeah, exactly.
Fun.
Yeah, it goes with horror. Mm-hmm. It kind of goes hand in hand.
Yeah, exactly. Just do the cool drugs, guys.
Yeah. So, I mean, do you feel, and that's just something that kind of came to mind a little bit earlier when I was thinking about the final girl. Do you feel that like for a lot of people, final girl has become like, an equivalent to like scream queen? Like it almost feels like, because I mean, we can do an entire episode on Scream Queen, another
yeah, and I think for me, I always viewed Scream Queen as a female actor who has been in several horror movies, not necessarily being the lead, just being in them.
Yeah.
Whereas a final girl is very specific to like what happens to them in that movie. So I feel like there's a huge difference between those two things. Again, I don't know if that's the correct definition of a Scream Queen. That's just what I assume they are.
Well, this is what these discussions are for. Let us know in the comment if you agree with us or not, and like if you'd want us to like go on a deep dive of the idea of Scream Queen.
Yeah. Like Neve Campbell can fall into both categories because she's been in, she's the quote unquote final girl of Scream. Mm-hmm. Although again, up for debate. But she's also in other horror movies like The Craft and why am I drawing blanks? I honestly, every ounce of my mind was going, and Wild Things. I'm like, that's not a horror movie. Quit bringing it up.
No, but it is amazing.
It is.
Wild Things Forever.
Kevin Bacon, Matt Dillon, Wild Things Forever.
Yeah.
Yeah. But yeah, like, my point.
Yeah. No, but I guess to riff on that point, I hear you, and I'm totally in agreement with you for that idea of like the Scream Queen. Mm-hmm. But it's like, to me it's also very funny because to me the term like Scream Queen, it implies like an actress who screams a lot in movies. And a lot of the times, ironically, the final girls are not the one that scream the most, you know? And that
No,
brings
it's a side character.
yeah, exactly. It brings us to that weird that like gradient middle character that I have no idea. Like I don't think they ever have a term because I think for a lot of people they're just considered well, they're just like a one more body count, you know, or whatever. But
It's a
it's
cannon fodder.
yeah, but it's like to me, those have always been like the most interesting characters in horror. Because
Oh, I would rather watch a movie about like Tatum than Sydney.
exactly, used
Really
to love
interesting and
Tatum so much.
sarcastic and outgoing, and like
Yeah,
she was so self-assured, whereas Sydney was like, oh, oh no, I can't have sex with my boyfriend, and oh, there's a killer after me.
yeah,
Those are very reasonable things to be upset about, just
exactly.
across the board. But Tatum was just so out there and assured. In the high school, I like wanted to have that self-confidence that she had.
Yeah, exactly. Me too. Tatum, for me, growing up, when I would watch Scream, I never identified with Sydney at
Oh my
any
god, not
point.
once.
But Tatum, oh my god, I even down to like I had the exact outfit that she wore, like you know
Oh my
the
god.
iconic little like yellow shirt, and even
Fun like
Casey.
spiral skirt. I'm
Yeah,
like obsessed with that. I need that.
yeah. Even like Casey in the opening sequence, she was so cool. Like she's in there for like 5 minutes, and okay, it's not because it's Drew Barrymore, but still, like the character is really cool because I mean, you have a feeling for her personality, the way she answers those questions, and she's playful, she's enjoying this, you know, she's flirty,
Yeah, because
she's
she thinks
great,
it's like
you
one
know?
of her friends is playing a prank on her and she's like into it. And
Yeah,
you don't see it coming that a name actor was going to get killed in the first opening scene of the movie.
yeah, and that big of a name as well, like you know,
Oh my
it's
god, yeah, she was
yeah,
Drew Barrymore. Like,
exactly,
just,
yeah.
I love her.
Yeah, no, that's it. And also another example, it's not from Scream, but like and you'll see where I'm going with this, but I was trying to think before the episode about who my favorite final girl is, and I was having so much trouble because that's the thing. I couldn't stop thinking about those side characters. Even going back to my favorite horror, like the original Black Christmas,
Mhm.
you know, to me, like the Jess, our final
Yeah,
girl in that, you know, she is okay, fine, she's struggling, she has a big character arc, and that's something very big, that's nice, that's important, that's worth noting. This is one of the first, like, you know, horror film that presents a full, big, very complex and morally controversial, like, you know, character arc. But even then, I just kind of always kind of found her a bit boring. It's like, you know, you're just too good. You're like goody goody two shoes, like, you know.
she
But I'm like,
is.
give me Barb all the way. I mean, like
Barb
Barb to
for
me has
life.
always been. I watch this, I'm like, fuck, man, I want to be Barb. Barb is so fucking awesome. But again, what
Awesome.
is it?
So cool.
Yeah, but she gets killed. Like, you know, all the cool characters, all the cool female characters get killed because she's like the embodiment of empowerment. Like, you know, she's like empowered, she's comfortable, she is unapologetically female and comfortable with who she is and with her sexuality. And that is the type of
Exactly.
things, like, you know, in those in contrast to the final girl, these are the things that would get you killed. Yeah.
It's true. No,
Yeah.
1000%. Should we
Exactly.
talk about what our favorite funnel
Yes.
girls are?
Yes. What is your favorite? Go first, because I cannot for the life of me.
Oh my god,
Well, okay, so
I have a stack.
oh wow, okay. So yeah, we're gonna talk about our favorite, and I guess yeah, go first because I think mine will segue into another, you know,
Mine
another part of this
is
conversation.
like
Yeah.
I feel like all of mine are probably up for debate except for like two, but I will debate the shit out of them. So I brought up my VHS tapes. Oh my god, I truly hate this. Okay, boom, my VHS tapes
Ooh,
from Suspiria. Nope,
you're
Suspiria
yeah.
to the I Know What You Did Last Summers to Urban Legend 2 Final Cut to
Oh shit.
Valentine and
Yes.
the new one Ready or Not.
Yes.
Because I feel like they are scream queens who do not get talked about enough, except probably I Know What You Did Last Summer.
Yeah. Although is Suspiria technically considered a slasher? Do we consider her a final girl? I'm throwing a
I
curveball
do
your way.
because she goes through some trauma at that school and she kills the witches in the end, and she is, you know, the last girl
Good point.
standing.
Good point. So it
And
is
I'll
a
fight
final
that.
girl that's not part of the slasher, you know, so that's good. That's interesting.
Exactly. Yeah, and I don't think Suspiria is truly a slasher, but it's like slasher adjacent. It's giallo adjacent. It's
Yeah.
how Europe does things, and I'm very
Yeah.
much into it.
Which I'm becoming somewhat of a little expert on, because that's all I've been watching for the past like 3 years now,
Exactly. But I
Yeah.
think the newest one to my addition is Samara Weaving, who plays Grace Ladomas in Ready or Not. Truly, this movie is like fucked up. They just go and hunt her after she gets married and she pulls the wrong card and
Yes.
truly has to kill this whole family before this family kills her. And at the end of the day, she is the last girl standing, and she has a connection to the killer / killers because it's a full fucking family of them. And it is just
amazing,
just beautiful, intense. But also, I will talk about Urban Legend Final Cut for my entire life. I might be the only person who loves it, but I love it so much. And Emily Mayfield is the final girl of this movie, and she is so badass.
I need to rewatch it. I mean, honestly, I saw that when it came out and not since.
Same. I like always, because like the first Urban Legend, I like it.
I really like. I went to see the first Urban Legend a few times in theaters. So
same, because it starred Joshua Jackson, and I was like, oh my god,
such as that it had a female killer, which I thought was so cool. Again, spoiler alert, but at this point, like, come on, like the 90s are long gone.
20 years ago, y'all need to calm down.
More than yeah.
But also, I love a good meta horror film where it's like a horror movie about a horror movie getting made.
Yeah, that's true.
Which is like forever my jam. I love when movies take place on movie sets, like Cursed, that werewolf one with Christina Ricci.
Oh, that was so
I know,
good.
I love it so much. And they're like gonna re-release it on Blu-ray, and I'm like, yes. I don't know if it's already been released. I don't know. I feel like
I love how we just like those films that a lot of people fucking hate, and it's like, I can just see on like subscriber counts, like, oh my god, no, they have
the
no
numbers
taste.
are going down. They're like, no, they're talking about
they're like, fucking
no,
if you mentioned Curse, that's it. We're out. Yeah.
But no, and like, I'm gonna watch this on VHS later. I realize I don't own this on any other.
That's true.
I just have it on VHS, which is great because I like watching those weird coming soon to home video.
Oh yes, those are the best.
They're the best. Also, we are in February, and February is the month of love. I obviously had to include Valentine.
Okay, I remember I saw that in theaters and I hated it, and I have not watched it since. So I don't know. Maybe I would.
I mean,
otherwise,
do you love David Boreanaz?
Actually, not that much. I'm like,
yeah, no, I get
all the way. It's like I always thought Angel was too mopey for my good. I'm like,
he's a little sad sack, but I love him so much. He is just so adorable. But I love Valentine. It's the cherub killer who's just going around killing all these ladies who were supposedly mean to him in grade school. And it is great because Kate Davies, who is this one right here, the Marley Shelton, she is our final girl. She is the one who, doesn't want to have casual hookups with David Boreanaz. She wants a real relationship, but she wants him to get help first because he's an alcoholic.
Nice.
And he's a sad sack in this movie too, but at least he tries. Yeah. But then there's like Denise Richards, who's like, really sexy and just wants to like hook up with dudes and pours wax on that naked guy. And then there are other friends who are like casually hooking up with artists who also just died. And obviously all the tropes point to Marley being our final girl. And she survives in the end. And then we find out, spoiler alert, is David Boreanaz the killer?
Yeah, I know.
Honestly, my biggest issue with that movie is that the guy wearing the cherub mask keeps having nosebleeds through the mask. And I'm like, have you ever worn a mask? Do you think it's sitting this close to your nose that the blood is going to go out of your nose out of the mask? Like, that's my biggest issue.
Well, I might have to revisit it now.
Do it because it is going to be Valentine's Day soon.
Yeah, well, I think it's that's the thing. When I initially saw it, I was all like, that reveal at the end that he's the killer. I'm all like, seriously? Wow. What a waste.
Oh yeah, it felt like a cop out. And only because when he's like hugging Marley, he like drips blood onto her cheek and you're like, he has a nosebleed. He must be the killer. And it's like, I get nosebleeds when the seasons change. Like, I'll sneeze and get a nosebleed, so we can all calm down on accusing people.
I love that.
Cool. And then, of course, the I know what you did last night.
Oh yeah, of course. Those are
like, no one can argue.
You know, same era as Scream. You know, they go hand in hand. Yeah.
We know that she is the final girl. She survives. She goes to college and leaves her, you know, towny boyfriend behind, but then he follows her to Rio de Janeiro, and then it's crazy. The second movie is stupid.
Yeah. I remember really liking the second movie.
I watch it all the time, but it is like not good. The whole reveal when they're like, Will Benson, get it? Ben's son? And you're like, it's almost as stupid as Valentine. Oh my god.
It's like so bad it's good. It's like literally, you know, yeah.
It's yeah. But truly, she is the final girl in that. All of her friends die. Her, you know, sexy best friend who you don't really see has sex. They just, her and Ryan Phillippe make out a bunch. And then she's in a bathing suit for a pageant. And you're like, well, she has to die. She's too sexy.
Exactly. That's it.
That's just how it goes. And obviously Ryan Phillippe had to die.
Yeah.
Because, you know, he was like, fuck you. You fucking told. He's accusing people. He's being a dick.
Yeah.
Whatever. I love those movies. I don't even care.
Nice. Now I'm kind of regretting not bringing my stack, you know, so.
Oh, honestly, I'm just like any excuse to be like, hi, I collect VHS tapes. Should you just want to give me VHS tapes?
I love it.
Yeah, but none of this nonsense. Don't get cut boxes. These are shit. Like, this is backwards, and I hate it.
Yeah, it reminds me of my video store where I used to go. They would do this. I'm all like, why are you breaking the box? Like,
no. For those of you who don't know what a cut box is they literally take like this lovely sleeve and then they cut it and then they put it into a clamshell and they don't even get the right side. So this is upside down and I hate it. But like it is, I get why they did it because it's definitely a lot easier to have a clamshell. And it'll last longer. Get damaged. But it's just not as fun as like a nice jacket. It's just.
I know. I love how they just like slide out. It's so amazing.
I know, right?
I know.
But yes, the main point of this podcast is to give us your VHS tapes. You don't want them. We want them.
Yes.
And then we'll talk about them on the podcast.
Exactly. We're going to revisit all those classics.
Yeah. Yes. Okay. What are your picks?
Okay. So I tried to think of classic final girls and I'm really drawing a blank when it comes to like the classic definition. And what I mean by classic definition is that I want to propose that there's a final girl 2.0, which you have hinted at with Ready or Not, you know, which is, I say 2.0 because to me, these final girls do not correspond to that classic definition of the final girl of being, you know, fighting but not too in a too threatening way or too masculine or like, you know, or being like, you know, morally good. It's like, no, these are like, you know, full on like, you know, badass like chicks that they just go like, yeah, you know what, fuck it, I'm gonna fight to the death and I'm gonna like win and I'm gonna kill that motherfucker, you know. So to me, those are the cool final girls. So I'd say, and again, going back to the queen, the OG, which technically, even though she technically could be considered a traditional final girl because we don't really know about her past, I doubt that she is like this like virginal, like, you know, morally good, like, you know, dainty woman fighting back. But I'm gonna go with Ripley, you know. So
yes.
I
mean, Ripley does appear on all of the top 10 lists for final girls that I've ever read.
Yeah, so she is to me, my theory is that Ripley is a queen of all final girls. But that's for me.
Yes, and she's a badass. She's like the only woman on this spaceship. No one listens to her. She's got a cool cat.
Yeah, exactly. But I mean, also, I think that comes from, okay, so I guess for context, as a kid, my role model for so long, so many years, was Sarah Connor. So I grew up obsessively watching Terminator 2.
But who didn't? That was such a good movie.
I know, right? I know, it was really good. And like, I just really wanted to be Sarah Connor, and I just wanted to be like super buff like her and everything. I was just all like, I'm like, oh, that's it, I'm Sarah
When I
Connor.
go to the gym,
But
all I want, I'm like, every time I have a trainer, I'm like, I want Linda Hamilton arms. So can you
yes,
just, can
exactly.
you work this so that my arms and shoulder are just Linda
I know.
Hamilton?
It's like I want to do like, like chin ups, and then like I want to
Oh my
like
God, I can't do
locks,
a sit up to
pick
save my
locks with a
life.
paper clip, and
Yeah.
then yeah, that whole thing.
I always thought that
So
I could pick
anyways,
locks with a paperclip because of her, and it's a fucking bullshit lie.
I know.
I have tried on countless times. The
Me
only
too.
time I can do it is like, the locks where you have to like on like a door, you just push in the button,
Yes.
and then on the other side, there's a hole that you could stick a paper clip in and pop it
Yeah,
out.
that's
That's
it.
the only time it works.
Exactly. That and those little diaries, the little those
Oh
locks that
yes.
goes with the secret diaries. Like those locks you can pick with paper clips.
It's really hard. Yank them open.
Yeah, then
Like
that's
they're for children.
I know exactly.
Although
So
I
anyway,
secretly,
so
as an adult, wish
context.
I had that.
When you grow up with Sarah Connor as like a role model, it's kind of hard to like see, like, for example, because I guess if I had to pick one of those classic, I guess Nancy would be the closest one, maybe, because I mean she's kind of cool. I mean she's not too helpless in a way, like but yeah, it just seems like I want my final girls to really fight back. So this brings me to the actual answer that I'm going for. I need to stay more concise and on topic, but it's very much in line to your ready or not example. Mine is from the film You're Next. Erin,
Yes, Sharni
who is a
Danson.
total fucking
Vincent.
survivalist badass, and like I did not see, like, I did not know that this was going to be the tangent the film was going to take. When it started, I'm all like, okay, cool, home invasion. And I'm all like, oh shit, oh, she knows how to booby trap a house. Oh, that's gonna
Yeah,
be
she
cool.
does. She knows how to fight back.
Exactly. So I really like this because that, like, was all like, oh my god, like, okay, so she wins the final girl contest, obviously.
1000%.
And the other one, and I know it's a controversial choice, Hostel Part 2.
Oh my God, yeah, Lauren German. Lauren German.
I can't remember the actor. I mean, I've only seen the film
She's
once.
in Lucifer now. Should
Yes.
people want to look her up?
So just that again, that reversal. And I mean, arguably, I think she's one of those on the, like, is she really a final girl or is she not? I really personally really love that
Yes,
twist.
Lauren German. Sorry,
Lauren
it was
German,
gonna
yeah, that's
bother
it.
me.
Like, I love that twist of being all like, you know what? I'm not gonna be a victim. I'm gonna fucking buy my way in, and I'm just gonna like kill those motherfuckers. I mean, that to me
Yep.
was all like, that redeemed the entire Hostel like thing. Because I saw part one and I was all like, why?
It was
like,
just a gore show. It was just
yeah,
exercise in we made people cringe. What
exactly,
cool shit can we do to humans and
exactly.
whatever? I think
But
my only yeah, I liked part 2 a lot.
yeah,
I thought it was very good. I think my only issue is that would she be a final girl if she was poor?
that's a good point. That is a very, very good point.
Because the only reason that she managed to survive is because her family is like billionaires.
That's
And
true.
she
That's
was able to buy her way out, but none of her
Yeah.
friends could do that. And if she didn't have the money,
yeah,
she also would have been dead.
that is very true. I didn't think of that angle. I think
So
what
the
I
true
saw from that
person is
angle, yeah,
capitalism.
yeah. What I saw from that angle was more the idea of all like, hey, I'm gonna beat you at your own game, like, and like, I'm not gonna, let you, it's not just about surviving and fleeing, but it's also about revenge, so
I do like a good revenge story. Especially, okay, and I will yell about this forever because men get revenge stories for everything under the moon, and women get revenge stories for sexual assault.
yeah, I know. That's
So I will say her revenge is great because she was physically assaulted the way most men are, and then they get revenge. So she got to definitely have a lot more masculinity in that whole thing, which I really enjoyed.
yeah,
Because, oh my God, women have more shit to get revenge on than men do. Oh my God.
yeah,
Like,
definitely,
why can't you go and kill our husbands and then we'll go avenge them?
exactly,
If someone steals my daughter, I'm gonna go, not the bad. Like,
yeah,
bears are terrifying. Daddy bears,
yeah. No, that's it. And it gets to the point where, like, again, coming back to Carol Clover, because she has a huge chapter about the rape revenge subgenre. And I'm all like, can we have a different type of revenge story, please?
I do not like rape revenge movies.
Yeah.
They don't add anything to anything for me. Like, it's not fun because that is a true terror for most women, and most women will not get revenge. And it's a shitty thing to talk about. And our podcast just turned into a bit of a bummer. But maybe give women more things to get revenge on versus being raped and violated.
Exactly.
And also, I don't like the idea of it because it also perpetuates rape culture. And then there's people like defending rape movies, and I'm like, I can't.
Yeah.
And it's just no.
It's like we've evolved past then. The 70s are long gone.
We've evolved past all of those.
Yeah.
Let's give women other things to be vengeful for. Let's do a John Wick for women where someone kills one of our cats and then we avenge that cat.
Fuck yeah.
Like, here for it. Why can't that happen to us?
I know, right?
And I feel like they tried to do it with that movie Peppermint that Jennifer Gardner was in, and it sucked.
Yeah.
And then they stopped. And I was like, no, just let it be bad. It's totally fine if it's bad. Keep going, though. Keep giving women those plots.
Yeah, exactly. No, that's good. Yeah. We need more of that. And horror, it feels like that is the one the one part, the one place in cinema where you could have those movies. Yeah.
Yeah, and there's no like other genre that's gonna make that the focal point of the movie.
No.
Like, that would be truly the worst. Like, if a comedy did that, no, I would not be here for it. I'd be like, that's not funny. Don't joke about that.
No.
Yeah. But we have to be the change we want to see, so these are the movies that we have to make.
Exactly.
And if men are listening, men, come on. We see you, do better.
To come back to Final Girls, what do you think it takes to like what do you need now for the ideal final girl? Or like a good final girl. Maybe not the ideal, but
I think I need final girls to have that moment of realization.
Yeah.
Where they're like, whoever they are in the beginning is not who they're going to be at the end. And I need to see them realize that they're going to change and their whole life is going to change. Because I feel like we don't get to see that progression as much. It's just like fight or flight. And I need them to be strong right off the bat. I'm not saying they have to be, super tough girl strong, but I'm saying they need to be their own person to begin with, like a whole rounded individual.
Yeah.
And like, I think that's why, oh my God, I'm looking right at it. Final Cut, like Urban Legend 2, she starts off being like, I want to be a director. I'm going to make this movie and I'm going to do, I'm going to do it my fucking way. And so she's a fully realized character. She knows what she wants right off the bat. And then people start dying. Mm-hmm. And that's the whole point of the movie. And then in the end, she kills the killer. And then it cuts to, her being the director on set and having her agent argue a 3-picture deal. Because she went from being a whole person to being a bigger, better person by the end of it. She didn't start off being like, I'm a virgin and all my friends party and drink and have sex and I just don't do that and I'm sad and my boyfriend's probably not going to stay with me. It's like, no, that's boring. Be a real human.
Yeah.
And then transition into who you're going to be at the end after this trauma has happened to you and be better and bigger because of it. If that like makes sense.
Yeah, no, it does. Like get a full-on arc, just evolve as a human.
Yeah, and don't start the arc in a weak place.
Exactly.
Sydney was a super weak character who, because of trauma, got strong. And I'm like, no, why can't she be strong to begin with?
I know. I was gonna say, like, make them fun too. That's to me, that's the biggest thing. It's like, when we're talking about the other characters that get killed because they're much more fun, it's like, why can't the final girls be fun? Like, have a fun personality. Yeah. Like, just make them like, be entertaining. It almost feels like it's just like, I just want to get rid of that stereotype of the ideal final girl as being this like, this proper woman that doesn't take too much
Yeah.
space, like, doesn't take too much room, is not too, she doesn't threaten by her own presence, so it's like, no, just be your full-on
Be
self,
your
man.
full on self. And I think that's why people don't want to let Gail Weathers be the final girl, because
That is
she starts off bossing around men. She starts off being like, no, we're going there. We're doing this. I'm getting this story. I'm making this happen. Like,
yeah.
she starts off being successful in a career. And I get that there's a whole backstory and she ruined Sydney's life, but it's again like she was a fully realized character who
Yeah.
then everyone was just like, no, she's not the final girl. She's not important. And it's like, but she is. She survived. She fought and she kept fighting. And then after she was done fighting, she fucking made money off of it. Like, she was a boss ass bitch. And I just want more of that.
Yes.
I need more women to see that they're powerful from the get-go, no matter what your story is. Like, be strong and realized, and then have an arc from that jumping off point.
Exactly. Totally agree with all of this.
Okay, good.
Yeah.
Because sometimes I ramble because I get very opinionated about these things, and I'm just like, I don't want to see women be these weak victims who then have to, through trauma, become stronger. It's like, why can't we already be strong?
Exactly, right?
And have fun. Why can't we start off, being a bit slutty? Who cares?
Yeah. Well, I see we're reaching the 1 hour mark,
you got to tell your opinion first.
Oh, well, I was gonna say, I can totally reflect everything that you've said. I don't want to keep our viewers or our like listeners, bore them for too much longer. Hopefully, you're not bored though. But yeah, I feel like that's it. Just make them more fun and more. And like, I know what I'm gonna say. It's an example. It is technically a horror comedy, but I don't know if you've seen the film The Final Girls. After
yeah,
see that
I love The
felt
Final
was
Girls.
such an interesting take on that. Because then it very much feels like it plays around with that idea of like the classic stereotype of what the final girl is, like in that old movies, like that they're like they get transported into, versus them today. And they are like, and that just kept me guessing the whole way through. I was like, who's actually going to be the final girl? Like, I sort of I had a doubt, of like who is going to be. And that just was so interesting, just playing with this trope and just showing these different types of personalities that you don't usually associate with the final girl.
No, and it's true. And I love that movie. It's so well made.
Yeah.
It's stellar.
Yeah.
It's like the only time I'll be like, guys, Adam Devine is in a horror movie.
Yeah, that's true. Yeah. But also very similarly in the Fear Street series.
Yes.
Okay, I am totally obsessed with part 2. I absolutely loved part 2. I know everybody has a different one.
No, I think mine is part 2, then part 3, and then 1, if I remember my order correctly.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But part 2 was like, oh man, this was amazing. But that's it. Again, that to me, the final girl in part 2. Oh wait, am I misremembering? But anyways, either like, because now for a second I just drew a blank about which of the two sisters survive. But I mean, but even then, regardless, they were both completely like fully realized, and they were both very much, they had this kind of like, this energy and this pep and this personality that I thought was not the type of personality that you would associate with the classic final girl. You still had the other stereotypes, but like, for once, the final girl, she had like, she had this alertness, she had this like desire to fight back, and she, like, it was not so much about just like cowering in fear and then like having to fight because she has to. Like, there was a level of like agency involved. There was a level of like, okay, no, let's do something about this. Like, let's go and let's like, just get shit done. Yeah.
Yeah, no, I agree. I love those movies. I'm so happy that see, like, back to Netflix killing it with shit. Like Archive 81 and all the Fear Street stuff, and I'm gonna constantly bring it up, but like Midnight Mass.
Yes.
Also, I didn't realize it, but I like bit my finger and now I'm bleeding.
Oh.
And I keep doing this on live streams, then I'm like, I don't know what to do.
See, we should be
Just
talking
wipe
about
this
vampires, and you'd be on topic, So.
exactly. I'm just gonna wipe it on my pants and then deal with it later.
Cool. Well, I guess since we've been going on for a bit over an hour, we're gonna leave it at this, and then we're gonna continue obviously the discussion on our Patreon extra, which I hope you're gonna want to join us to hear us, continue talking about
Yes.
this and see where
subscribe.
we take this discussion. But in the meantime, I hope you enjoyed our discussion, and we'd really, really love to know what you think about, what's your favorite scream queen, final girl. Sorry, I was trying to put the banner at the same time.
I was like, I thought there was supposed to. I kept wanting to be like, there's supposed to be a banner.
Yeah, me
I
too. I just realized
think.
I'm all like, oops, it's not there. Anyways, well, you know the drill. We like the link is going to be in the description. Anyways, we are part of the Infamous Horror network of shows. We have a Patreon, Infamous Horror. We are also mostly reachable on Twitter, because that's the best way to engage with us and let us know what you'd like us to talk about, who you'd like us to interview. Let us know your thoughts. And obviously, we are also available wherever you get your podcasts. And we are also in video format, so you can see our beautiful little faces.
And our cool design. I'm sorry, I'm constantly obsessed with how good all of this looks.
I know, right?
The StreamYard design is very good.
It's amazing. Yeah. We put in. Oh no, our team put in a lot of effort.
Yeah, the team. I did none of this.
I'm not gonna take credit for them. Sorry, guys. Yeah, thank you to the lovely team who put a lot of effort into designing this for us. But yeah, so you can watch us on Facebook and on YouTube, and yeah, listen to us wherever you get your podcasts. So yeah, thank you for joining us, and let us know what you think of Final Girls, if you agree with us or disagree, and what you'd like us to talk about next.
And let me know what your definition of Scream Queens is. I want to know if it matches mine.
Yes. And what your
now I'm second guessing that I don't know what a Scream Queen is, but that's what I feel like it is. So if it's not, let us know.
Yeah. And also let us know if for you, Final Girl, did we teach you something about what it means, or are you one of those who were are you one of those who are using Final Girl to mean any female character of a film? Because side note, why I'm bringing this up, because I was thinking about all oh, who's my favorite Final Girl, and I just watched a movie Till Death, with Megan Fox.
Megan Fox, yeah.
That movie was fucking awesome.
It's so good.
That's crazy. And I was all like, that's amazing. I'm like, she's such a cool final girl. And I realized, wait, she's the only girl. She's not the final girl. There's no, it's the thing, there's never, see, that's when I realized, I'm all like, oh, I think people start using the term final girl to mean any female character in horror that has to fight to survive. But that's what, going back to the idea, to me, Final Girl refers to the cast, or the ensemble cast, the fact that there's multiple girls, or
and the fact that no one else is dying at the hands of a killer. They're all bad people except for her.
Exactly.
This is different because she's a cheater.
Yeah. So
but cheating is better than murder. Sorry.
Yes. Right.
I take it. I think she's a great final girl. I approve. It's checked. I'll throw in the list. But argue with us online. Let us know.
Yeah, argue with us if you think Final Girl should be for ensemble cast, or just, badass woman in horror.
So. Yeah, just badass women who survive horror. These are the discussions we have to have. I could honestly keep this podcast going for 3 hours. So maybe we'll do part 2.
Yeah, exactly. Maybe. Yeah, if you want us to do part 2, let us know too, But we're doing part 1.5 on Patreon. So
exactly. So like, share, and subscribe. Go to our Patreon.
Yes.
Yeah.
And see you there.